going. And I apologize for a little interruption here, but I guess we just kind of interrupt from now on. That's kind of what we do. So anyway, let's look here a little closer. This thunderstorm, the same one we were looking at we've been tracking for the last couple of hours. In fact, instead, if I make this, say, a 2-hour loop here, it gets kind of shows up with a similar level of significance. Let me get my chat on Facebook up and going here as well. Make this a second here to find it on the right monitor. There we go. So let's go ahead and make this, say, a 2-hour loop here for a moment. And you can see it's just been that same thunderstorm over that entire period of time there near Mariana, moving out here closer to Southaven and Hernando. Hail, I'd say the main impact with this, so kind of looking at this from best we can figure it, I don't see a whole lot of hail reports coming in on this. I'm going to check our discussion with the National Weather Service here. Let's actually see if I can pull up a camera there near Horn Lake. Just one of those cameras. Our meteorologist, Gabe Maynor, behind the scenes here, kind of pulling me up a couple of those cameras, see if we can find one facing southwest. I've got an eye on that, Gabe. Once you get one that has a sky shot there, we'll look at it. I-55 and 302 in Horn Lake, Gabe, might be a good one to kind of check out there as well. So let's get this back here to just the last hour's worth of time. And looking at that there, you can see kind of the movement. And again, hail and maybe some strong gusty winds, the main impacts with this near Dean's Corner in the Days community, just north of I-69 there, where we're watching most closely. And bring up the latest scans here for a second. Let's look three-dimensionally on this thunderstorm. We're looking all the way from Monroe County with this one. Let's bring it into the Memphis, the closer Memphis radar. There are a couple different ones. I'm actually going to go to the Tower Doppler weather radar there first and check the wind on that. Again, the expectation is this could potentially have some wind gusts up there. Kind of looking at the latest on this. Maybe up as high as around 50 to 60 miles per hour. 51 knots inbound, okay. So Caitlin up there at the Weather Service talking about the wind speeds inbound up to around 50 knots, which is closer to 60 miles per hour. So let's see if we can kind of see that. We're not that far off the ground. At least on this particular projection, we're not showing it quite that high, but it wouldn't be at all shocking to have it about that high. So that's some of the strong damaging wind kind of approaching I-55 there, up there kind of southwest of Horn Lake and closer to Southaven as well. So again, I see that camera that Gabe has up. Give me a moment. I'll pop that up here behind the scenes as well. So again, this is up there in Horn Lake, looking back there towards, of course, some of the low-hanging stuff as that thunderstorm comes in. So this is Horn Lake right there until in kind of the northern edge of this kind of bow of strong winds. This moving toward the north and east at a speed close to about 30 miles per hour or so has been kind of consistently where it's been. So let's go ahead and put a storm track on that. We'll keep an eye on that camera there here behind the scenes. And let's go ahead and put a storm track on that as well. So again, I show that moving there closer to Barnesville, Southaven there, all kind of in the path of this, of course. And let's get that speed right there. Let's go. I'm gonna have to go a little wider to get a more accurate speed. Give me a second. Let's go about 30. There we are. And so some of those times you can see there, we're looking at Horn Lake about 6:49, or right now, as you saw a moment ago on that camera, coming in at Southaven about 6:54 there. We're looking toward Green Lawn about 7:19, Germantown 7:20 as it kind of moves up there. But of course, we're looking at Jago at about 6:55, Plum Point 6:59, Chapelville at 7:07, Mineral Wells there at 7:10, Parkway Village 7:10, Maywood at about 7:10 as well. But the closest turn, Alden and of course, Horn Lake, both in the path of some of the strongest winds related to this here at this point in time. And again, I'll kind of pop up that camera here that we're looking at up there closer to, and I'll see if we can actually put both these things on at the same time. So give me a moment as I'm trying to see what we can balance on there. There you go. So you can see still kind of showing, again, that severe thunderstorm warning. And you can see there, again, Horn Lake over top of you with those strong winds about to kind of move in. This near I-22 and Mississippi Highway 302. Lightning starting to increase, but clearly not a lot of power disruptions at this point at that camera location there. But yeah, that's 3 strikes in less than 10 seconds. A lot of flashing going on there. So the lightning on the uptick related to that. Let's see if it's at the same 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, well, I thought the flashing was it was so consistent there that I was like, I figured it was actually a problem with the camera, but the flashing stopped it there. So it's just a very electric storm, and those electric storms tend to have more potential for a little bit of wind damage there. So again, that's what's kind of moving into and through that area. Again, we're watching up here closer to the Memphis area. Mississippi Live Weather, our coverage, has expanded a little bit on where we cover versus where we did before. And again, this is getting close to crossing I-55 within really just the next couple of minutes here. So we show less than really 2 miles or so from crossing 55 there, south of Horn Lake, and between that and, of course, the new interchange that we have down there at 69, 269, and 55. Current time is 6:50. I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lawpon from Mississippi Live Weather alongside our meteorologist Gabe Maynard back at the broadcast facility, back behind the scenes. And you're kind of looking at a storm moving in with some strong gusty winds, potential to cause perhaps some sporadic wind damage, kind of looking at the reports coming in. We have some folks watching up there, but we do not have a whole lot of reports of severe weather, thankfully, at this time here. So we're back in here to our room-to-room weather center and kind of reestablish things here for a moment. This is a severe thunderstorm warning for DeSoto County in effect until 7:15. In particular, DeSoto County, kind of the center of this here, does extend up, I believe, in the Shelby County, Tennessee. Of course, that is outside our official coverage area. And we go back on the precipitation mode. A couple different ways we'll look at that. We're looking for a little farther away on this one, but still, even from the radar site up there north of Memphis, that one looks fairly impressive. Hey, for weather alerts when severe weather strikes, highly recommend you pick up our Mississippi Live Weather Call. That weather call, the reason why it's a thing, the reason why it's important, the reason you should consider it is because it allows you to know when severe weather is moving towards you. Significant severe weather in particular calls you for tornadoes and will call you back if a tornado is confirmed, or severe storms, major flooding, tropical alerts as well. To those devices, to let you know if you're in a significant danger. Those come in the form of text with those alerts. But the phone call, the reason the phone call matters is because right now my phone is in quasi do not disturb mode. But somebody calls, in particular my wife calls, my phone's going to ring because I have her as an important number saved in here. And you can save those important numbers, those favorites, and it'll bust through do not disturbs as well. Want to think as many layers as possible. Of course, Mississippi Live Weather app does do alerts to let you know if you're in the danger zone as well. Current time is 6:52. Another camera here. This would be I-55 and Church Road. Our meteorologist Gabe Maynard kind of driving things behind the scenes here at the broadcast facility in Tupelo. Gabe, I might actually send it to you on the monitor there for just a moment if you want to take a look at that. So I hear your audio there. I'll go ahead and kind of pop up the 2 box there. And yeah, Gabe, you're showing some shots, aren't you?
Yeah, to say the least. I mean, this is going to be a pretty intense looking storm. This one just on I-55 South and Church Road. So it's just south of the Horn Lake area, but kind of in the heart of that storm. And already the camera's starting to rock just a bit because of those strong wind gusts. Unfortunately, and I wish it had it, was some wind readings, but I would say that we're getting a good decent downpour. Also, some of the reflection of the headlights there on the road shows that heavy rainfall coming down. So folks going to get a pretty decent thunderstorm there towards the DeSoto County area. So folks need to get off the road if they can, because as an experienced driver in the storm after last Friday, you don't want to be out there in this. So it can definitely pack a punch.
Yeah, sometimes we underplay what severe thunderstorms do because we concentrate so much on tornado warnings, things like that. I mean, you start taking wet road plus a 60-mile-per-hour crosswind, or even a 40 or 50-mile-per-hour crosswind, that transverse, the way in which the wind hits your vehicle is going to make you want to hydroplane. So it's bad news for sure. So definitely want to be, staying off the roadways if you can. I-55, obviously a very traveled roadway. And for some clarification for some other folks that might be watching us at this point here, we're doing this coverage for a severe thunderstorm warning in DeSoto County. DeSoto County, now part, of course, our coverage area here on Mississippi Live Weather, as we are taking really the northern half of the state, trying to cover it as effectively as we can. You can see the rest of the area, few thunderstorms out here toward Greenwood. These are less impressive. Storm up there toward Florence, same story. But in the northwest part of the state up here, this thunderstorm, the same one we were tracking up there close to Tunica earlier on, has prompted this severe thunderstorm warning, hence the reason we're doing a little bit of coverage for this thunderstorm. We're spending a lot of time here on the in particular looking at the wind mode on this. But if we check the rainfall rate on this as well, and I'm going to change this to the rainfall rate out of the other Memphis radar up north there at the Weather Service, you can definitely see that the rainfall rate is significant. 7 inches an hour is blinding rainfall. Positioning on this is a little slow than the other ones. So, I mean, this I put over Nesbitt and near Alden's there, and Jago, moving there toward Mineral Wells and Olive Branch eventually. Let's get a good line on this for Olive Branch here for a moment. Double check the angle. Just kind of clear things off there, put this back into motion, we'll make this a 30-minute loop. And you can see it has moved fairly quickly. That's an angle that's going to take it pretty close to Olive Branch. I would say it's, again, this is looking at the heavy rainfall potential there. If we look at the, what we call shear rate, which allows us to kind of look at, this is typically better used for rotation, but sometimes it can hit kind of extreme bits of strong wind as well. We don't show a big shear swath there, and we also don't show a significant hail swath either. So again, while we do show some hail potential this has produced from time to time, we look for the yellows on this. The yellows is part of not the warning in the background, but the actual data. I don't see any of those that's overly significant, so that's a sign that probably has not been a lot of hail out of this. Maybe some small hail, and certainly there's a lot of heavy rainfall with this as it moves toward the north and east. Bring us back to the rainfall mode here, and I'm going to actually bring this back over to the the radar from the Memphis airport there. It's done the most effective job, and yeah, again, this is one thing that sometimes happens with these airport radars here, we'll call tower Doppler weather radars, is when it goes over top of the site there, a wet radome doesn't always translate it forward as effectively. So I'm going to translate this at about 30 miles per hour there. It's largely, the strongest part of this is about pretty much exiting the warning as we speak. So I'll put all the locations there as well. So the strong, at least, outflow winds running a little bit ahead. And maybe that's something we should clarify for a moment. You can see the precipitation is back here just west of 55, but the rain-cooled air kind of leading ahead of that. So maybe that's a sign this is a little below severe limits. Hopefully that's the case. But certainly tracking that initial push of wind there, as you can see, Olive Branch, we show you 710 on that. The rainfall, though, waiting a little bit longer before it gets to there. One of our shots here, this coming up close to the Memphis area, this looking, believe, I-55 and Roscoe Road, looking south there at the bottom of the thunderstorm. Can't step in front of that. I don't think I can step in front of that. But what we have up there at the top is the black sort of cloud is we're underneath the shelf cloud there. The shelf cloud associated with that big burst of kind of rain cooled air. That's why this camera bounced around a little bit. I'd say the strongest winds are probably past I-55 at this point, unless you've got an extra burst there right at the center core of that. I'll drag our track kind of over here next to me as well. But appreciate our meteorologist Gabe Maynard behind the scenes here, getting these cameras lined up for you. So, of course, the bright community, 7 o'clock for you. But where we're looking here, and I'm going to clear this off for just a moment again, and we're going to retrack this for a second. So this is going to be where the rainfall, and if there's any extra push associated with that, where perhaps that could be, I'm going about 30 miles per hour for that forward motion. So Alden to Nesbitt now is kind of where the rainfall is. Sometimes you get an extra little push when the rain evaporates into this, to cause some issues there as well. Looking there closer to around the Pleasant Hill area at 712, Cedar View there at 718, Mineral Wells at about 718 or so. A Handy Corner at 729, Piperton at about 745 there, Mount Pleasant 755. But of course, nearer term here, Olive Branch 719. The wind will get there before that. This is when the strong, heavy rainfall will come, hopefully, as it's over top of Horn Lake right now. In fact, that's what the gray, if you see where it says m.traffic.com, the gray just to the right of that it's seeing, that kind of brighter gray there, that's what that is kind of picking up at that location there. Is that's maybe a little bit of hail, but certainly that heaviest rainfall that's kind of mixing in with that there. I'll see if Gabe is back there behind the scenes kind of checking some things out as well. Gabe, what do you have going on as of this time?
Well, good news is that National Weather Service there in Memphis canceling out the warning, so they see that this is below severe limits. Those velocity products that were once producing, those bright returns showcasing a little bit of those stronger winds, that has now subsided. But as you mentioned, right now, heavy rainfall on the backside of this. You can kind of see, I can point, I guess, here at the Room to Room Weather Center, a little bit of that heavy rainfall there on the backside with that leading shelf cloud still being seen. So MDOT, basically a tale of two MDOTs is what we're going to call this forecast, or at least this camera angle right here. But Matt, I'd say that the worst is definitely past us, and we are going to see a good, decent downpour in areas that need it. And that's been the case for a lot of folks today, just avoiding those severe thunderstorms, but still getting that much needed rainfall. And so as this can be damaging, it's been beneficial for a lot of people as well.
It has been, absolutely. Thanks, Gabe. I do want to show a couple pictures here real quick. This picture coming in from North Mississippi Storm Chasers. This would be James with North Mississippi Storm Chasers, shot there from up in and near, I believe, the Hernando area along I-55 related to that storm. Certainly kind of a rough look at things, but that was that shelf cloud. We talked about kind of that darker blue as that went across some of the stronger winds just a few minutes ago. Appreciate James for going ahead and sharing that with us. I'll see if I can get one other picture up here in a moment. This coming from, that one was Southaven, 55 southbound from Southaven. This one coming in from near Hernando. This would be from Jason Motz, who is the emergency manager up there in Marshall County. Appreciate Jason. Just kind of the mix of clouds there. You can also see more of a pink look at this. That's because the sun is getting closer to horizon, so just kind of catching it just the right angle. There also might be a little filter on that, looking kind of the way that looks. Either way, share your pictures with us. That's something Gabe will be showing tonight at 10 o'clock on Mississippi Live Weather. Some of your photographs that you have sent. We'd love to also share some more of those if it ended up being something that was necessary. But as he alluded to a minute ago there, National Weather Service going ahead and canceling out that warning here as of 7 p.m. This looks really weak on here, by the way, because it's right over top of the radar site. And then when the wet radome happens, that kind of looks like that. But either way, there's been a significant downtrend in the wind potential out of this and the severe weather potential in the last few minutes. We'll give you one last storm track, and we'll send you back to our regular programming here, about 30 miles per hour again. We show Olive Branch at 722 for you. If that were to hold together all the way toward around the Piperton area, be looking at 749 Collierville, 744. I point that out because it has held together for a while, so wouldn't it all be shocking for it to hold together a little bit longer? Of course, our next live broadcast, scheduled live broadcast, is coming up tonight at 10 p.m. That's here from the Room to Room Weather Center. But of course, if necessary, we'll be on a little bit sooner. And of course, tomorrow morning, speaking in Northwest Mississippi, our meteorologist Maggie McCauley, based out of locations up there around Senatobia. And so she will be live with you tomorrow morning, starting at 6:30, 7, and 7:30 a.m. here from the Room to Room Weather Center. Keep it here for the very latest. For meteorologist Gabe Maynor, I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Lopon for Mississippi Live Weather. We'll go ahead and I think send you back to our regularly scheduled everything else that we have going up. So keep it here for the latest.
Growing up, Gabe was naturally curious. When he began to discover weather, Gabe just didn't want to know what was happening, but he wanted to know why it was happening. Gabe became fascinated with tornadoes, and it impacted his life. He wanted to pursue a career in meteorology. Even though Gabe grew up in Alabama, Mississippi has now become his home and his family. And one thing about Gabe is he keeps his family safe.